Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon for PA ABLE and 529 savings programs for families with disabilities webinar on Tuesday, August 22nd at noon with Diana and Karen, an outreach specialist from the Bureau for Consumer Programs at the PA Treasury. Here's our disclaimer at the ARC of Lehigh Northampton Counties. The ARC of Lehigh Northampton Counties Advocacy Department does not employ lawyers or provide legal advice. This training or any others provided by the ARC's Advocacy Department does not constitute or imply the endorsement, recommendations, or favorings of the providing party or any employees or contracting acting on its behalf. This webinar is being provided for educational and informative purposes only. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest presenters, Karen Carr and Diana Fishlock. The Zoom is yours.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, you're
Wonderful.
good to go.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. And I'm here for the portion to talk about the Pennsylvania 529 College and Career Savings Program. It is both. It is not only for college, it's for career as well. And I've been privileged to be an outreach specialist with this program for a number of years. But even so, I had a failure, but my podcast will not start. So we're going to send you a link. It's really just a little vignette to tell you about what the 529 program really is all about and why it exists, and especially the Pennsylvania program. It is a program that's designed to help you as Pennsylvania residents, or even if you live outside of Pennsylvania, all across the nation, even out of the country, to save for those future education expenses. And 529 plans exist for that very reason. I'm going to have 10 minutes to talk about this, so I'm going to go rather quickly, and I imagine you may have questions afterwards. We have two plans in Pennsylvania. We're really lucky to have the 529 Guaranteed Savings Plan and the 529 Investment Plan. We call them the GSP and the IP. The difference really between the two of them, the major difference, is that one, the Guaranteed Savings Plan is not going to be tied to the financial markets. It's tied to the way that tuition changes over time. That's really the key difference. And then the investment plan is going to be tied to the financial markets. There is a little bit of a nuance as well with the fact that the Pennsylvania 529 plan has a residency requirement. When you open up a plan with us at the Pennsylvania State Treasury, and it's a guaranteed savings plan, either you or the beneficiary has to be a PA state resident. Doesn't mean you have to stay in Pennsylvania all the time. It just means you have to be a resident to open that plan. It's a special plan with really special features. The investment plan, you can be from anywhere and open the investment plan. There are still more nuances, and I really would expect you or hope that if you have more questions about this, you'll join us for a webinar that we're doing in September or October or November that goes into more detail on these plans. But you're going to be able to use these plans. Oh, let me go back. I'm sorry. As I mentioned, for career and college, but you can also use your money that you save in these plans for room and board, books and supplies and equipment. You can also use it for apprenticeship programs. And I did use it for the repayment of student loan up to $10,000 after my one youngest son got out of school and we still had money in there. You can use it for K through 12 expenses as well. All of those things are very wonderful reasons to have a Pennsylvania 529 plan. You're going to get income tax deductions on your contributions. Based on your contributions, you can deduct it off of your state taxes. When you use the money for qualified educational expenses, which are those things I mentioned earlier, your, sorry, let me go back here. I just want to show everybody what those are. Never mind. We'll keep going. Your qualified educational expenses are things like your tuition, your room and board, your required books, and your supplies. When you use it for those things, you're going to get a really great tax benefit. I want to also mention that if you open an account with us at the Pennsylvania State Treasury with the PA 529 plans, you can sign up for what we call Sage Tuition Scholars Rewards. And you can Google that and see what the tuition rewards plan is. But some people have saved at private colleges and universities up to a semester's worth of education, free and clear with what they've saved, contributed to their Pennsylvania 529 plans. It's a consortium of private schools, so it's all for private school funding. And then we have YouGift, which is a great way to be able to add money to your account, depending on whether you've either one of your accounts, if you've chosen a 529 guaranteed savings plan or a 529 investment plan. You can send a little code to friends and neighbors and anybody, relatives that you want to contribute, and they can just use a special little code to create an account and send money to your account. So it's another great way to build your funds in your 529 account. Going to go over the guaranteed savings plan. That's the one that changes with tuition and not financial markets, right? We have 5 average tuition levels that you can choose from, select from these. You don't know where your kids are going to go to school, but once you choose a level, you can change it 5 times in a day, 10 times in a day. It doesn't matter, where your child is going. If they're a young child right now, it's going to matter more when they're getting closer to the time that they're going off for their future education. So you want to remember that this is tied to tuition changes over time. We call that tuition inflation. This is how the guaranteed savings plan works. You just pick one of these and you watch your money or your contributions change over time as the way that tuition changes over time. The guarantee of the guaranteed savings plan, why they call it this, is that the growth on your contributions that you contribute are going to keep pace with tuition down the road. So for example, if I put $5,000 in way back when I went to Penn State, which was like the dinosaurs went back then, if I put it in then, $5,000, and I didn't use it till now, that $5,000 back then paid for my full tuition at Penn State over all my years. If I saved it instead and went to school now, it would pay for my full tuition now. That's basically how that works. Connecting that account growth to tuition inflation, it's going to give you that return in line with what your savings goals are. And it really gives people peace of mind, not based on the markets, if that's where you feel most comfortable. We also have the investment plan. Very fortunate that we have one of the very best, the top 14 in the nation. What happens in these investment plans is you're going to pick from some portfolios that you like if you wish, or you can pick from what we call a target enrollment plan. That's based on when your child might go off to, your beneficiary might go off to school. You just pick that date and it's set it and forget it. It'll change your investments accordingly to become more principal protected as you get closer to that enrollment date at school. Very nice plan. And then all the other plans that you can select from, the portfolios, the individual portfolios are really a variety from aggressive to moderate to conservative. And I happen to have both of these plans. I have the investment plan and I have the guaranteed savings plan. Why do I have both? I like to hedge my bets. I think they're both great plans and they fit into my needs, which right now, I don't even have any needs. We've helped to put our both of our sons through college already. They're grown. I'm anticipating maybe having some grandchildren at some point. I've kept their accounts open and I continue to lightly fund them for the future because these are legacies. And if I don't have any grandchildren, well, I'll find another educational use for them. If I don't pull the money out and use it for education. I can use it to repair my roof, buy a car, whatever I need to, but I will pay taxes on that and a 10% federal penalty, which I don't mind, but I prefer to use it for education because that keeps all that money in my account. That's why these things were built and why they exist. They really keep that money in your pocket. You can use them at any qualified educational institution, K through 12. You can let training programs and so forth. You can save towards room and board, and you can easily contribute, as I do, from a paycheck. Every other week, it comes out of my pay. I don't even notice it. And I also contribute from a bank account. I don't notice that either. And it just grows and grows and grows. I love that. I get all those tax benefits too when the time comes for me to take the money out. Those are the really important things that are helping our families save for, or families now, save for the future education for those that we wish to, we prize that. This is something we really, believe in. So as we save, this is how you can save. You have more questions, you go to pa529.com. You can compare the two plans that I spoke about today, the guaranteed savings plan and the investment plan. I think you'll find that this can really be a wonderful, wonderful tool for you in your lifetime. We do also like to offer this plan, as we will for the PA ABLE plan, for employers to use this for their employees. So if you're not currently having your employer use this for you, that you can, it's so easy. We provide the Human Resource Department with all the tools they need just to get this out, and you can, sign up as an employee benefit for one of these plans, or you can just do it individually. But it is a nice thing to be to offer to all of the employees that you work with. And then also, I don't want to forget to mention the Keystone Scholars. If you know anyone who has a child that was born January 1st, 2019 or forward, they are eligible for the Keystone Scholars. This is a one-time $100 grant that goes into investment in that child, that goes into an account called Keystone Scholars. And you can find that at patreasury.gov/consumer. You can find more information about that there, but we do want people to know about that $100. And then we also have unclaimed property. You may want to go on and search for any unclaimed monies. We call it unclaimed property, but that includes monies, and 1 in 10 people has some. Believe me, I find money out there for people all the time. You can research for yourself, for your family. Just don't forget. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen.
Well,
the other question I actually have myself, and then I'll let you go, is you
Sure.
mentioned the PA residency requirement to open the GSP plan.
Yes,
Do you have to keep that PA residency requirement?
you do
So
not.
it's just to open, but let's say we move in 10
Yeah.
years, that money can still be used for the person's educational
Absolutely. We have plenty of account owners who live in Florida or California or Nevada, wherever,
Great.
and they have a Pennsylvania guaranteed savings plan. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. And the university or college program doesn't have to be in PA either. It can be
No, anywhere.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you again
All
for
right.
your time, Karen.
You're welcome. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
All
Have a
right,
great
bye-bye.
day.
Thanks, Karen.
Bye-bye.
I'm Diana Fishlock. I'm the Pennsylvania Treasury Outreach Specialist on Pennsylvania ABLE, and I'm very happy to be here this afternoon. I have 2 children with disabilities, and we have ABLE accounts for them, so I sort of understand ABLE during work hours and off hours as well from both sides. So today I'll be talking about what ABLE is, who is eligible, and how to open and manage an account, and a few additional rules for people receiving Social Security or supplemental security income. So ABLE is a special program. It's a savings and investment product for people with disabilities and their families and friends to save for disability-related expenses. It's a great way to be able to save and maintain government benefits. and there are some great tax advantages as well. Through ABLE, for the first time, many individuals can save without jeopardizing those benefits. And whoever is managing the account has a choice of investment options as well. It encourages independence. It works well with employment and any state or federal benefits that you may be receiving. Pennsylvania has a great record with ABLE. Ours has been one of the fastest growing programs in the country. More than 7,700 account owners have saved more than $90 million in assets in Pennsylvania ABLE. So we're very proud of that. ABLE began as a federal program in 2014, and that enabled the states to open their own ABLE programs if they wished. As I mentioned, one of the great benefits of ABLE is that individuals can save while maintaining their benefits. So assets in an ABLE account are not counted against any federal means tested benefits. There are a couple extra rules, as I mentioned, for people receiving SSI. If you are a Pennsylvania resident and you have a Pennsylvania ABLE, that also protects some of your Pennsylvania benefits. So funds in a Pennsylvania ABLE are not counted against Pennsylvania benefits having to do with disability, health, and student financial aid. This is extremely important because without ABLE, it was very limited how much individuals with disabilities could save and still receive their benefits. For example, traditionally, someone receiving SSI, I think I'm jumping slides here. No, okay. Traditionally, someone receiving SSI can only have $2,000 in assets. But with ABLE, that same person receiving SSI can save up to $100,000 in their ABLE account without jeopardizing their SSI. If they go above that $100,000, they just spend down. And even while they're spending down and their SSI is not frozen, but you know, is frozen temporarily till they spend down, they still can use their medical assistance. So they still can see the doctor and get their prescriptions while they're spending down. And for ABLE account owners who do not receive SSI, they can save more than $500,000 in an ABLE account. So that's a real game changer for people. An individual can have only one ABLE account nationwide. We do highly encourage Pennsylvania residents to open a Pennsylvania ABLE for those protection of benefits that I mentioned, and also some tax benefits, which I'll touch on in a few minutes. I just want to caution that, and it's unfortunate to say, but there are a few states that have sort of misleading advertising and marketing initiatives that may mislead you to believe that they represent Pennsylvania. If you happen to open one of these non-Pennsylvania ABLE accounts, your benefits won't be protected and you won't get the tax benefits. So to be sure that you're where you want to be, you can look for our logo, which you see here on this slide. It's blue and green. It says PA ABLE. And also go to the website paable.gov, and then you'll know that you're in the right place. So there are some really nice tax benefits with ABLE as well. So if I'm a Pennsylvania taxpayer and I contribute to any PA ABLE account, I can deduct that from my state taxable income, which is really awesome. I can say as a parent, it's just lovely to get you know, refunds back from my state taxes every year now. Again, if I make a contribution to an ABLE account in another state, I don't get that special Pennsylvania state tax deduction. Also, any money that is earned in a Pennsylvania ABLE account is free of both state and federal income tax, as long as the money is in the account and as long as I use it for a qualified disability expense. And I'll talk about what those are in a moment. So let's touch on eligibility. There are two factors that go into eligibility. The first is the age of onset of the disability. So the person's disability has to have begun by their 26th birthday. Congress has been expanding ABLE gradually, which is wonderful. In a few years, that age will increase to 46. So that will include more veterans, more people with autoimmune diseases, accidents, that sort of thing. But right now, today, the person's disability has to have started by their 26th birthday. Doesn't matter how old they are now, and it doesn't matter what age they receive the correct diagnosis. And the second factor is the disability itself. So if the person is eligible for supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance, then they automatically qualify for ABLE. But if they don't qualify for SSI or SSDI, then they can self-certify. With self-certification, their disability has to have begun by age 26, and basically they need a written diagnosis from a physician saying that they have a medically determinable physical or mental impairment that results in marked and severe functional limitation and is expected to last for at least 12 months. That's because these are really specialized accounts with lots of benefits. So they're not offered to just anyone. So if I fell off a ladder this afternoon and broke my leg, my doctor's not going to offer me an ABLE account because that's not going to be a long-term disability. So let's talk about how to enroll. You can enroll on our website. It takes about 15 minutes, and it's a lot like applying for a credit card or an online bank account. That's paable.gov. Or you can apply via a paper application, which you can print out from our website, or you can give us a call at 855-529-ABLE, and we will mail a form to your house, and you can fill that out on paper. I do want to talk a little bit about account control, because these rules were recently expanded by the federal government. So the way the rules are now, if I'm an adult with the legal capacity to enter into a contract, I can open my ABLE account myself, or I can ask any other person of my choosing to open and manage the account on my behalf. That person is called an authorized individual. But if the person with a disability is a minor or someone who does not have the legal capacity to enter into a contract, then the account must be opened by another person. And the federal government recently outlined for us the list of priority of who can open an account on another person's behalf. And that list is power of attorney, a legal guardian or conservator, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, or a Social Security Administration representative payee. So if, let's say, I open an account on your behalf, it's with the understanding that it's your money. The account always belongs to the person with the disability, even if that person is under 18. And it would be with the understanding that I'm managing the funds on your behalf. So I'm not going to use those funds to give myself a special treat because it's your money and I'm managing it for you. There's lots of ways to make contributions. You can link your payroll to ABLE and do automatic deductions when you get paid. You can link it to a bank account. You can put money in now and then or put money in regularly. I know Karen mentioned UGift. We also have UGift codes with ABLE accounts. So let's say I was having a birthday party for my child. I could share the UGift code with family and friends, and they would be able to put money in that ABLE account if they wanted to, but I wouldn't have to share the account number. So that's a nice safety factor. People can also roll over a 529 college and career savings account right into an ABLE account with no tax implications. And that's a nice thing to do if you maybe want to use the funds for a wider variety of expenses, not just education, or if you need the funds sooner. People who receive SSI or SSDI can direct deposit those into an ABLE account if they choose to, as long as they don't have a rep payee. An ABLE account can accept up to $17,000 per year this year. That's true whether I'm the only person contributing or whether all of us on today's webinar were contributing to a single account. The amount that account can accept this year is $17,000. Somebody asked ahead, like, what if we spend down the $17,000? There still is a cap for this calendar year of $17,000, even if you're spending it down. There is one exception, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And then I'll stop and see if people have any questions about what I've covered so far. So the exception to the $17,000 limit is able to work. The Able to Work Act is pretty great. It allows some individuals to contribute up to $30,590 this year. So the way it works is if, say, I'm employed and I have not contributed during this tax year to certain kinds of investments, then I can contribute above that $17,000. The amount extra I can put in is whichever of these is less, either the amount that I earn this year or the federal poverty level for this year. Are there any questions about what I've talked about so far?
We had one submitted in the chat, and the person said, do I have to be a parent or disabled to benefit from an ABLE account?
You have to be, you have to have a disability in order to have an ABLE account, but you could benefit from it if, let's say, your sister or your best friend had a disability and you put money in her account. That could be a benefit to you because you could deduct that from your state taxable income.
Great.
I'll probably think of something I want to add to that in a minute, but that's what comes to mind immediately.
That's great. All right. Yep, that's the only question so far.
Okay, great. So when you put money in a Pennsylvania ABLE account, you have some choices about how you want to invest. There are 6 investment options, and then a 7th is a checking account, which I'll talk about on the next slide. So these we can see range from conservative to aggressive. These are all a mix of stocks and bonds and cash. They have nice low fees of less than 1%. The fees range from 0.3 to 0.33% annually. Anytime I put money in, I can put, let's say I'm depositing $100 today. I can put all of that $100 in just one of these or any combination up to all 7 if I want. The checking account is through Fifth Third Bank NA. But I would enroll in that via the PA ABLE website or paper application, just like I would with any of the other investments. It does come with a free debit card that I can use at ATMs. It's free in network or $2.75 out of network. I can also use that at stores the way that, you know, all of us do with our bank cards when we're getting groceries or anything else at a store. There is a monthly service charge with the checking account of $2, but there's 2 ways to get around that. One is if I have an average monthly balance of at least $250 in the checking account itself, or if I choose to receive information electronically rather than through the mail. There's no overdraft or return payment fees, and there's lots of good information at Fifth Third Bank, including an ATM locator. So this slide pulls out the fees into one place just so they're easy to understand. PA ABLE accounts are free to open. There is an account maintenance fee that we have been able to lower several times, which I'm very pleased about. Right now, if you receive information through the mail, that fee is $14.50 per quarter. But if you feel comfortable receiving information electronically, that bumps down to $8.25 quarterly. And then the other fees I already mentioned, the asset-based fees on the investments and the checking account fees. So once you put money in, you'll want to be able to take money out. With the investment options, you have 3 ways to withdraw. One is online to log into your account. One is by phone to call that ABLE helpline I mentioned. And by the way, you can call that up and say, hey, I need you to send $100 to my Visa, pay off my Visa bill. We will cut the check and we will mail it for you. Or you can do it in writing by filling out a form. With the checking account, you can use your debit card at a store. You can make a cash withdrawal at an ATM machine, or you can write a check if you would like to purchase checks. So this is my favorite slide, not just because it has this cute little family on it, but also because it talks about all the ways you can use an ABLE account, which are quite vast. The federal government has laid out 11 different categories of approved expenses, qualified expenses, things like education, housing, transportation, health and wellness. They also say it's fine to use it for everyday living expenses, which I really appreciate as a parent. We use ours for groceries and jeans and sneakers and, lots of just, maybe boring stuff, but it's really nice to have it there. We do encourage people who are managing the account to always keep receipts in case they are ever audited by the IRS. I'm seeing we're getting close to the hour, so I'm going to zip through a few slides just to make sure we have time for Q&A. Okay, so some of those extra rules for people who receive SSI, they do want to keep their account under $100,000, as I mentioned before. If they get above the $100,000, their benefits will be suspended but not terminated. They won't have to reapply. For people on SSI only, they need to be careful about housing. If they take funds out to cover housing, they should spend the money in the same calendar month that they take it out. So if I take out money for my September rent, I should take it out in August and pay my landlord in August rather than carry it over from August into September. Okay, and I'm going to stop now for Q&A, but I do want to mention a couple things. I have an outline here I can show you of what it looks like to apply online. I'll do that if we have extra time. And I also want to say, if you go to our website, www.paable.gov.
At this time, we have one in the chat. So if anyone else has anything want to write in, or you can use the raised hand function, and we can unmute you. We'll pause the recording at that time. But can I use my ABLE account as a substitution for Pennsylvania school employee pension?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean,
Go
are
ahead.
you saying to use ABLE for your pension, I guess is the question. I mean, you would want to use it for those qualified expenses during your time that you are retired. So, you could use it for education and health and prevention and wellness and all those things during your retirement. I'm not sure it's a simple yes, no question as far as whether this would work in place of it. I haven't really thought of it in those terms, I guess. I apologize.
So that was the question that we had submitted. If anyone has any others, we'll give you a moment to type or use the raised hand function. Like I said, we can pause our recording during that time. But Diana, you had referenced that you might have an outline to review as we wait for questions. So why don't we move forward with that? And then if we get some more, I'll interject.
Sure. Many years ago, a parents group asked me to show them what it looks like to apply online. And I thought it was such a good idea. I just kept it as an optional part of the presentation. So if you were on our website, you could click on enroll. I just want to put a plug in for the PA ABLE enrollment guide. There's lots of good information, the disclosure statement, lots of good information about ABLE, and you would want to read that so you understand, what you're opening there. Okay, so let's pretend we're opening this for my son, Ben, and he was a minor. We would put Ben's first and last name in here because he's the account owner. But we would put our email and our phone number in here because we're the ones managing the account on Ben's behalf. Now it's asking, hey, who's filling out this information this afternoon? Is it Ben? Is it Ben's parent or another person who should be able to manage money on Ben's behalf? Depending on how we answer this, we may get an email later requesting documentation, court documents or birth certificate, that sort of thing, just to verify that we are somebody who should be able to manage money on his behalf. And then the account owner, again, is the person with a disability, regardless of who's managing the account. So we're going to put in the account owner's name and address. It's asking what sort of disability the person has. Obviously, some people have more than one disability, but there's no wrong answer here. It's just the federal government looking to collect some information on who is it who needs ABLE. Is it mostly people, say, with respiratory disorders or more people with developmental disorders? Again, no wrong answer. It's asking whether you receive SSI or SSDI or whether you're self-certifying. If you're self-certifying, we don't need that paperwork, but you would want to keep it on hand in case you're ever asked to show it. Again, it's a lot like opening a credit card or a bank account. You're going to put in your driver's license or state ID, mom's maiden name. You are going to decide how you want to invest. You can say how you want to invest today, and you can also set this up. So if cousin Joni puts money in for your birthday, her contribution will be distributed the way that you want it. You can change these at any point also. But again, as long as these add up to 100%, you can invest it any way you want. It's asking how we're going to fund this account. Are we going to write a check? Are we going to link it to our bank account? Are we going to link it to payroll? So we get those nice automatic contributions that we don't have to think about. Do we want to receive information via mail or email? We're going to create a username and a password and some security questions. And that's pretty much what it's like to apply online. I am going to leave this number up. This is great if you have any questions, or if you are in a support group and you'd like some brochures or a presentation. It's 855-529-2253. And I want to check in and see if we have any additional questions.
Yes, thank you so much. And we do have the questions coming in now. I appreciate you going through that, and then for your time and Karen's time as well during the webinar this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.